This will be up and running tomorrow, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said on Thursday at a White House briefing. He added that loan checks could be disbursed the same day that borrowers applied. Wow, that's awesome. I have an account at Chase Bank, and Chase Bank is an SBA-approved lender, so I'll be able to apply tomorrow, right? LOL, no. Look at this. This is hysterical. It says, we aren't accepting applications for the program at this time. Check back for updates. Please don't send us any SBA or Treasury Department forms. In bold effing print. Hey everybody, how's it going? So the Paycheck Protection Program is a program where small businesses, like mine, would be eligible for 2.5 times their average monthly payroll. So what I would do is I would look at my W-3 form, I would look at my overall payroll for last year, and I would divide it by 12. That would allow me to see what my average monthly payroll is. Then I multiply that by 2.5, since that's what the CARES Act says, and I would get the amount of money that I'm eligible for as a loan. That comes out to somewhere back of the napkin math, $130,000 right now, since I looked everything up, approximately. And that's pretty cool. But the cooler part about this program is that if you don't lay off your employees, if you don't fire them, if you don't cut their pay, that what happens is that that loan can then be forgiven, meaning that the government just paid your entire staff for 2.5 months. Your payroll for 2.5 months was essentially free, which is really cool because that means then you can use that additional money for other things at your business. And this is something that I find really difficult to believe. I'm finding it hard to swallow that this is actually something that is happening or that any bank is going to go along with this. As I've mentioned in older videos, I have looked for loans in order to move to a new store. Originally, I was given the impression that I was eligible for what came out to essentially just a few weeks of payroll as a loan. And when I actually did the formal application, I was eligible for nothing. Zero. Absolutely nothing, which was somewhat surprising to me. My business has no debt. I don't have credit card debt as a business. For the entire duration of my business, I have paid the full balance of my company card on time every single month. No late, no AP. I don't even know what the APR is on my card, and I don't care to ever know because I've never carried a balance. And I was not even eligible for like $2,000. I was eligible for zero. So it's hard for me to believe that there is actually money available to be given as a grant, much less a loan, because businesses like mine can't even get a loan to begin with. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'm being a little too cynical. Now, this is going to work. When Steve Mnuchin says that this is going to be available tomorrow, I believe him. So this is in the New York Times. This will be up and running tomorrow, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said on Thursday at a White House briefing. He added that loan checks could be disbursed the same day that borrowers applied. Wow, that's awesome. I have an account at Chase Bank, and Chase Bank is an SBA-approved lender, so I'll be able to apply tomorrow, right? LOL, no. Look at this. This is hysterical. It says, we aren't accepting applications for the program at this time. Check back for updates. Please don't send us any SBA or Treasury Department forms. In bold effing print, don't send us Treasury Department forms. That is Chase Bank taking their middle finger and just saying, fuck you, Steve Mnuchin. Fuck you for telling everybody this. We're not doing it. We're not ready. Go away. And if you read the rest of this page, it says, please do not go to a branch for this, as they will not be able to assist you. Do not go to a branch. They will not be able to assist you. Chase Bank is making it very clear, as well as many other banks, that they are not going to be doing this tomorrow. Oh my God. Somebody from the White House lied. No way. They'd never do that. There's no way, after encouraging people to not lay off their staff, not fire their employees because help is on the way, that they made that up. No. It's sad. Because I remember Cuomo saying something like, you know, this is unprecedented. We can worry about the economy later. People need to worry about the economy later. I remember he was quoted saying something along the lines of, you will worry about the economy later. Easy for fucking you to say, Cuomo, because you are not paying your staff out of your own goddamn pocket. This is the sad part, is that there are many people that tried to do the right thing. They didn't lay off their staff. They didn't fire their staff. What they could have done when all the shutdowns were announced and when it was very clear that crap was going downhill, what they could have done is fire everybody, lay everybody off. Then they don't have to pay sick days anymore because they don't have a staff. They could have just closed their company. Since, at least in New York State, it was mandated that you give everybody 14 additional days of sick leave, like full sick leave, like paid sick leave. And that is going to be a difficult thing for you to pay for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 employees if your business has no income. Or if you're an essential business, even if you are an essential business, even if you are open, you're probably going to have a lot less income since all the other non-essential businesses that pay you money for your services are not open. It's going to be really difficult to pay that. But businesses were told that there was this thing called, what was it? The payroll tax credits. That don't worry, those sick days will cover them under payroll tax credits. How about, here's the way it works. You pay out $34,000 now, and over the next 6 months, we'll take a little bit off of the taxes that you would have paid. That's adorable. Can you imagine if I took $100,000 from you, and then every week for like the next year, I gave you back like $2,000? That sucks. Like, I just took $100,000 from you. I just emptied your bank account, and you have bills to pay, and now I'm just going to give you little bits and pieces of it back? Because what payroll tax credits are, that's something that would take about 6 to 9 months for me to cover the amount of payroll that they asked me to pay out in the beginning. And then they come out with this payroll protection program thing, which is, oh, wow, this is going to be way better. So instead of it being some stupid little trickle that happens over the next 6 to 9 months, it'll be a loan that's dispersed immediately. And you'll get the money the same day. No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't. You're probably not getting anything tomorrow. And it's sad. It really does suck because the businesses that were more self-interested are the ones that are likely in better shape. The ones that just said screw it and laid off all their employees. I'm lucky. I really am. I moved because I didn't have enough space for employees to cover the amount of work that we had. So even if there was no business coming in the door for a week, we still had enough business here that we had to catch up on, that we'd be able to invoice throughout the next several weeks and be able to not lay anybody off, not fire anybody. And I have not laid off or fired anybody as a result of coronavirus or coronavirus dips in business. But other businesses probably have. Or other businesses have considered doing it. And they may have thought, you know what? No, I'm going to wait this out. I'm going to try to do the right thing by my employees. And what happened to them? They got fucked. I've had some people tell me, well, if you don't have enough money to be able to weather just a couple of months with no income, then you don't deserve to be in business. You know what the funny thing is? When I'll search through the comments, they'll be the exact same people that said, Lewis, you're an idiot for saying that airlines shouldn't be bailed out. Because small businesses should be able to have 3 or 4 or 5 months of money in their bank account, but God for fucking bid that Delta or United have 6 weeks of fucking money set aside in case something happens. You know, it's because it's kind of funny because the $20 to $40 billion that they want as airline bailouts are almost the exact same number that they spent on stock buybacks over the last 8 years rather than putting into a savings account for a rainy day. I don't really mind which way your opinions go there. I simply ask that they be consistent. But focusing on how dumb that statement is. You shouldn't be in business if you don't have the money to last a month or 2 with no income. Because your employees are now going to be the ones that pay for it by not having jobs or pay. Yep, those same employees. What would you rather have? Would you rather work for a company that pays you and then when they go out of business stops paying you? Or would you rather be unemployed? I mean, the sheer stupidity of that statement, beyond me. So most of the people that I hired from places that were paying them much less than they make now, or they were people that were unemployed. No job at all. Then my company came along and I hired them. So now they have jobs. Job creation. If I waited till the point where I just had a bunch of money in the bank to where I could just operate for months or a year on end with no income, I would have never started a business. I was denied the ability to get a business loan after being a registered business for over 8 years. Do you think I was able to get a loan 12 years ago? No, I wasn't. I had $200-something in the bank. I barely had enough money to feed myself that day after buying my parts, much less pay people, much less stay in business for several months while paying people. If I listened to that maxim, don't go in business until you have 6 months or 5 months in your bank account in case you have no income, I would have never started a company. I would have never had any of these employees to lay off or fire because they wouldn't have ever had jobs. But even besides the moral or ethical quandary about starting a business before you're a fucking millionaire that has all that money in the bank to just in case your business closes for several months, that's not the reality. So what do you do about it? most of these businesses are not going to have the money in their bank accounts to continue paying employees, continue paying rent, continue paying everything else without receiving money. So this, honestly, even 2 weeks in, this is way too late. Of the fact that a lot of cities started shutting down businesses and shutting down travel routes and stuff like this, the fact that a lot of this stuff happened over 2 weeks ago, it's already too late. Like, even if this program were ready to go tomorrow morning and giving people money, there's a lot of people that are already fucked. They're down and out and they're done for. But the fact that it's not ready to go tomorrow, and the fact that it's not, doesn't even have a date, that many banks, they're not even saying, listen, April 3rd is not reasonable, come back April 8th. They're just, yeah, check our Twitter. Check our Twitter. We'll let you know when we're ready. That's awful. Like, these businesses are already fucked. By the time you roll this program out, so many of these businesses are going to be gone. There's not going to be a business to loan anything to at that point. The payroll tax credit thing hasn't even occurred yet. My payroll company just yesterday, only because I pestered them via phone and email, even added these codes to my software so that they could keep track of them. They're not ready for this. There's no payroll tax credit yet. That's something that's going to show up over the next 6, 9, 12 months. Obviously, I'm going to pay out of pocket right now. I have the money in my bank account too. If there are employees that are sick, believe they feel sick, or live with people who are sick that they have to take care of, or are just concerned about getting it, they're staying home and they're being paid, and I'll be reimbursed for that. I'm not counting on it. I'm budgeting for the fact that that's coming out of pocket, but there are people out there that don't have that money. And payroll tax credits is honestly a shit way to do it. Because what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to take $100,000 from you now, and I'll give you like $2,000 a week over the next year. It'll be fine. But we're going to start that in like 2 months from now. That's awful. That's awful. Nobody would want that to be done to them. But that's being propped as a solution. And that's the thing. I'll probably be all right. I'll probably be all right. I've run my business in a manner where I only go to the next level once it's absolutely effing necessary. I only move once I'm bursting at the seams with my current store. I only hire new people once the people that are working here are convinced that even if they did speed and coke the entire day, that they would still not be able to work fast enough to get even 50% of the work done. I expand slowly so that I'm able to make do with limited resources and no access to capital. But there's a lot of businesses out there that are really hurting right now, and they trusted that this shit was going to come through, and it hasn't. And that's the part that is really sad here. It's that nobody had their shit together. And I don't know who had their shit together less. I don't know if it is the White House, where they're one day saying that health insurance is going to pay all your copays for coronavirus, and then all the health insurers have to come out and correct them, or the place where they say you should wear a thick scarf or whatever because it's better than a mask, or is it the banks that are so far behind that with Chase Bank in 2020, if I want to file a chargeback, I have to fucking call you because you don't have a button on your website that allows me to do that. I don't know who's more at fault, but what I do know is going to happen starting tomorrow is you're going to have the financial sector and the government all pointing fingers at the other sector and then pointing fingers at each other, blaming each other for the fact that they didn't have their shit together while all these small businesses go bankrupt. And while coronavirus is not something that I'm going to blame Steve Mnuchin for or someone from Chase Bank for, what I can do is say that your response to all of this sucks. And a lot of people are going to be going under because they made decisions based on this being available and you all fucked it up. So get your fucking shit together before you see half of the country go unemployed. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something.